All right, so we got quads today, and before we get in there, I'm gonna go over first. If you're having a tough time either growing your legs in general or just quads, a couple of reasons why that may be happening, and also some solutions. So the first thing is, we know that your exercises may be the problem for your quads not growing if you have no problem with upper body, right? So if everything's having problems, like you can't grow any upper body, lower body, chances are it's probably a diet problem, or maybe you just don't train hard. But more likely than not, it's a diet problem. So ruling that out, upper body's fine, then it probably comes down to either not splitting your leg days up into 2 separate leg days, or what you're doing on your leg day. So today is just quads instead of both glute hammy day and quad day summed into one leg day. Because if I did that, the workout would take like 3 hours. By all means, if you have 3 hours, go for it. But to have it down in 1 hour and a half, just quads today is within that time. And you'll see I do three exercises for it, but way more volume for each of them. You could split it up and do 5 different quad exercises for a few sets each, depending on how much your quads can handle. But I'll do 4 sets for 3 exercises. And usually it comes down to, if you have one leg day, the amount of exercises to hit every single thing within your legs is way too much to put at one time. Because the typical, I guess, bro leg day starting out is barbell squat, quad extensions, hamstring curls, maybe some calf raises if you're feeling it up for it, and then call it a day. And sure, that can get you decently far when you first start out, but it definitely dies off very, very quickly. I don't know, I think there was a span when I did that even once every 4 days for upwards of a year. And obviously it's dependent person to person, but you're not going to see much difference doing that. Because if you think 4 sets of hamstring curls is going to be enough to hit hamstrings when it's basically half of your entire leg, that's not going to be enough. And same thing with quads. If you think 2-3 sets of barbell squats of doing 3 sets of 6, almost PRing on low reps for it, and then thinking that you're just going to get a pump from doing quad extensions, it's not enough. And you'll notice a difference just switching at one time of getting just a full quad day, or even if you want to keep both of them on the same days. But just switching it from thinking that your pressing movements for quads have to be super low reps, and that's how you're going to get all the strength out of it. Sure, if you want to do that, but there's a complete difference between just squatting for either powerlifting or just having so you can say you have a big squat, and actually getting big legs. Because part of getting to, I want to make sure I describe it correctly, because I don't want to say that guys that do eventually get big legs is only from doing super high rep ranges and volume, because that's just not true. But it's having a mix of both. And if you only have one pressing movement from your leg day, because you do squats, sure, you could do 2 sets of heavy and 2 sets of lighter, but it's still probably not enough. I think half of it comes down to, most of the time, don't want to hit legs. For me, it's either it's favorite day of the week or it's the worst day, no in between. But ways to work around that, it really depends on what your split is. If you have a full 1 week long split and you want to keep it aligned with everything you have for the week, and you have maybe a 4-day split for a week and 1 leg day, I would say just do less sets per exercise and then have a more variety. But the fact that I'm able to do it split leg days, one quad, one hamstring, I can get away with either doing more exercises or just more volume on individual movements, more sets, and have a fully effective leg day because I'm having 3 different exercises. Because I can get both of the numerous exercises and volume because it's one day. But like one leg day a week, you can absolutely get enough from that. But let me just give like an example one, because more likely than not, most people, you guys watching this, is once a week that you have it going on. One leg day. And either quads, like if you're not used to doing barbell squats and then quad extensions and calling it there, do like, you can get away with 2 sets of barbell squats, 2 sets of like a lower weight, very long time under tension, leg press, 2 sets of that, 2 sets quad extension. That's one way to expand out more of the quad section of the leg day. And then hamstrings, you're gonna have to do more than hamstring curls, quite honestly. Like, I'd argue your hamstrings take up even more of your leg than your quads. And like you need a type of RDL, some type of deadlift, and mixing that in with the same day. And then the point of, I guess, even saying that all those would be on the same day, it's like you still would probably want to switch up your leg days into 2 separate ones. But what would it be? Just an RDL and then some type of hamstring curl. And that'd be about 5 exercises that you can work with making it one leg day a week. But I think there's a trade-off with when you have less training days per week. So if you only work out 3 times a week, your workouts are going to be way longer than if you work out like 6 times a week, 5 times a week. And it's honestly up to personal preference. That side of it really is just dependent on your schedule and what works with your schedule. Because I mean, if you look at like pros, every single pro is a different split, different training routine, different lifestyle, but they all follow the same theme. Like, they're not worried about fatiguing themselves when they go to the gym. They give everything every single time they go, and then all of them have rest days. And I guess that's like the 2 big takeaways. So that was kind of the way I wanted to wrap up, saying like, even with me suggesting to split your leg up into 2, it really is all dependent on what your schedule is, and keeping the fundamentals in with actually going in, training hard, and leaving the fatigue side for when you're outside of the gym with the recovery aspect of diet and sleep. So yeah, I think that's everything I got before we get quads. I'll give you a quick overview of what we got before going in. I'll start off with either a leg press or some type of squat, probably a belt squat, whichever one's open. I kind of try to optimize my speed of my workouts, so I'll really go with the other one that's open first, and then hit the other one. So that's 2 exercises: quad extensions, calves, abs, and then be done. So it's really not much, even with me saying how I split them up because there's a lot going on, but I make it work because I do so much volume on each of them. I do 4 sets for each of them. All of them are to failure, and all of them are, or almost all of them usually are, pretty high rep. Gosh, like either 10 reps or more. And that's how you get way more volume out of it, just out of 3 exercises. You could do 7 exercises for it, but I find that unnecessary for me, at least at this point. Maybe when I'm 8 years into lifting, 10 years into lifting, that might be what I need to do, but part of it's dependent on how long you've been working out. So, all right, we're here. I will see you guys in there. Okay. All right. We'll start off with leg press. And part of it, if you're trying to hit quads mainly, if you bring your feet lower, the more quads are going to be activated. And you want it low enough to where you can still push through your heel, but yeah, I guess low enough where you can still push through your heel, and that's how you can get the most out of your quad. And you only need to go halfway down to like 90 degrees, because otherwise you're going to be hitting a lot of rest of your leg. But if it's like a full leg day you're doing, that's fine. But if you mainly just want quads, that's how you get the most out of that. And part of it, I think, is a tough time trying to actually push through your heel the entire time. And if you, like the same way you start a deadlift, of like you pull the slack before you do your deadlift to help not jolt your lower back. Same goes with this. Before you start your set, if you put pressure right here with your heel, like right now I got pressure, before I unrack the weight and start my set, then I'm actually going to be pushing through my heels because I set myself up that way before starting it. So, just a couple things to help out with it. That being said though, it's about to be a heavy set. I got 7 plates on this thing. We'll see. Let's get it. Let's go. You see, like, whew, I have no problem locking out on doing leg press if it's a weight you can manage. There's no problem with like putting all that on your legs, like the weight underneath, if you prove that it's a weight that you can control on the way down for every rep. Because that means everything can control it. Your joints can control it, quads can. The problem is when you're doing a weight, when you drop it down and then it lands, the weight that's here and even more because of the momentum on your joints. And then you try to slam up and then lock out, and then you're just hitting joint day instead of quad day. And that's when it's a problem of locking out. But other than that, it's completely normal. It's actually finishing the range of motion. So, point being made, use a way you can control, then you have no problem. Okay, let's get If you're wondering why I'm making all these noises, I'm trying to mentally psych myself out for doing this weight right now. I don't know. Leg movements, usually when doing the weight you should be doing, usually makes you a little nervous of how much it is. Because normally, I mean, I guess I've been throwing like an extra, almost a plate each time, each quad day, or at least trying to push it plate by plate. Gosh, because I think it's so hard to gauge actually when you're hitting failure for something like leg press because of the gap between how much weight fluctuation there is. But like, I think mainly it's just from tapping out because, dude, anytime I'm doing quads, like, it's more mental than physical every time. Way more mental than physical. I think it's just the more mental you can withstand without tapping out, the more physical rewards you get with some big old quads. All right, enough procrastinating. Let's get it. Oh shit. Damn. Until I get a quad day started. Alright, let's get this going. I've been chilling out on having a load on my back for quad days, just because of the fact that, dude, I'm having a problem with pressing evenly. Sure, I could do like Bulgarians instead if I wanted, but the activation between, I don't know what the hell you want to call this, but right here, and I guess I actually part of my glute as well, super wound up, or bound up, and part of that affects when I'm pressing. I'll like push on the toe from here, and I'll push on like the heel from here, and obviously it's going to lead to way more problems if you just keep pushing uneven pressing. So one way it helps a little bit, I found it happens more when I have a weight on my back, also pushing through my back. So if you do this, take the load off the back. Sure, doing single leg would be ideal instead, but to be honest, I'm a little too lazy to do and impatient to do 4 sets of single leg on each leg right now for quads. So this is my alternative to it, is just take the load off my back and be able to press a little more even now. Okay.
Dude, this leg is killing me. I gotta say, mixing the volume as well, whole different leg day. Like, I think people miss out mostly of always trying to PR, do like a 5 rep PR, and anything you do leg related, sure, that's gonna help with the strength side. But you see what I'm doing, like, I do 4 sets of like 10 reps on leg press. Then you go to this, about four sets, like 10-ish as well. And completely different feeling in your quad. Like, one's getting more strength, one's literally putting so much blood in your quads, blowing up like a balloon. I'm not even done with the leg day yet. You can just see it from that last set. Whew. All right, 2 more. Remember the part of the car talk I gave earlier about why I split my legs up into 2, or leg days up into 2? Imagine doing all this and then still going to have to do RDLs and then do hamstring curls. Like, there's no way I'm getting a full effort out of doing my hamstrings after doing this. There's no way. Now, it can work if you don't need as much volume in your workout to be like getting a good workout in, to be dead. But eventually you have to do more and more volume per muscle group. And it gets to a point where it's like, all right, I just did 12 sets of quads, done with that. And there's no way I'm gonna be able to do hamstring as well on the same day. So that's where I came to the conclusion, split them up into 2. All right, let's go do quad extensions. All right. I gotta say, the best quad extension here, it's the most pain to set up. Like this one, at least, I can change this thing to where when I'm at like the start of the movement, has like the most weight and way different feeling. But in fact, I gotta preset this thing up just to have it at least get my knee anywhere further than just going like this, so bring it back more. And I gotta rig myself into it. But I see it's worth it, honestly. I'll either use this one or either I just do it unilaterally or I'll use this one, as in like one leg at a time. But I don't see no difference between the two. I usually just go with whatever's open, and then if everything's open, I'll usually pick one that I can have a full ROM, and if that's not open, I'll usually just pick one and do unilateral, because then you can get more out of it. At least the symmetry part of it. Because like, ideally every muscle group, especially if you're training for bodybuilding, like having unilateral movements in there helps a lot. Even if you don't have an imbalance or like a symmetry imbalance, helps keep everything in check. And then also mentally with pressing evenly so it doesn't get out of balance. Something I kind of wish I did earlier a lot more with my movements, because I used to always prioritize doing every movement bilateral, as in like both at the same time, because I could press more weight, sure, but there's a gimme and like a gotcha. The gimme is that you can do more weight and have more, I guess, more weight on whatever muscle you're trying to hit. But the gotcha part of it is that you're missing out on the keeping a balance and the symmetry aspect of it with the pressing. So there's always a plus and a minus usually when you tweak stuff within a routine. So it's all dependent on what your own individual situation is. It's definitely not one size fits all. That being said, do I want to get this done so we can move on? We got calves, just calves and abs after this. And then, luckily, I made my cheat meal this week after quads to go get all-you-can-eat sushi. So I'm trying to get the most out of this so I can get the most out of eating. All right, let's get
Just staring at me while I'm at dinner? Yeah.
Okay. Last set, then we can move on to calves, abs, pose. Get out of here.
I literally just did. I asked you a question based on the answer you just gave.
Let's go pose. All right. Dude, solid workout, gotta say. I think you'd probably think the same the way I was finishing each of my sets, like brutal. Let's see if I can get like a nice thumbnail picture from this. What do you think? Pull it up a lecture? Maybe a little too much? There we go. If I just got a thumbnail, I was like, I doubt I'm going to use that as a thumbnail, but what if I just was like, goofy ass thumbnail? All right, probably something like this would be a thumbnail. Take this off.
I got that very good time. Nice. Nice. Good stretch, boy. Yep. Four, 70? Yeah. Same 2 reps, 2 sets. Like 8. Doing a cable wheel, guys. Super set the cables and bicep curls.
Yeah, I'm up, right?
Yeah, I'm done with these.
I gotta say, not trying to overcomplicate doing a quad day. I'm only doing 3 exercises, but just like way more sets and reps. My opinion is so much better. Really, the only time you get to the point where it's like, really want to actually like fine tune specific exercises for like, oh, you really want to grow the more the outer part of your quad. Is really when you get like more towards your weight cap, if you're watching this and you're planning on competing. But like, anytime before then really is not as important as just training hard and getting at least enough volume in from your entire leg day. Like, it's definitely not a issue until that. And I mean, like, for me personally, I'm like 30 pounds underneath my weight cap. Like, I was 190 stage weight, and I think my height weight cap for classic is like 217. So like, by no means am I worrying about trying to like target outer part of my quad until at least I'm near that part of my weight cap. But other than that, that's all I got for today. Let's get in the car.
All right. My holiness, please. Thank you. All right, it's okay. I gotta say, solid lift today, even with my weight honestly leveling off the past couple weeks. And let's talk about that, because I think I wrapped up everything really for what I explained with training wise and like exercise selection and training split wise before the lift. So I'm not gonna try and beat a dead horse there. And I just lost my train of thought. What the fuck was I talking about? Bro, I just completely forgot what I was gonna say. What was I just saying before I went on a tangent? Damn it. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I'm talking about diet. The bulking side of it. Part of it of like always constantly pushing more and more weight, let's say weight wise, scale wise. Let's talk about the scale part of it and diet. Is good, but part of like having the waiting till your weight levels off a little bit. You always want to stay on top of your weight going up a little bump more in calories, but like part of it's okay if like there's a couple weeks of you being at maintenance, because it helps your body still stabilize and maintain this extra tissue you're putting on. People say like, oh, it's a myth, oh, it's not true, but like it really is, because your body wants to set a new baseline of what, let's say a new baseline of what manipulation you're doing to it, of adding more muscle, losing more fat. Same goes for both sides of when you add new muscle or you lose more fat. You want to let your body adapt to that and create a new metabolic baseline of how it wants to be, physique-wise, aesthetically-wise. I'll say like the cutting aspect of it, so it'll be a little easier to understand. When you lose weight and you drop fat, your body does not want to stay in that loss of fat state normally. It has an ideal body fat percentage it wants to be at based on what you've been at, like your baseline of what you've been at. And you usually know what that is based off of what body fat percentage you've been for months straight. And that is what your body wants to be at. And it's different from person to person. I mean, so you see some people, they don't track a single food they eat and they're shredded. There's some people that don't track a single thing and they're chubby. And I mean, part of it is the baseline your body wants to be at. The good part of that is you can actually change what your baseline is. And part of that is you don't even have to think about what you eat, and that would be basically your baseline, just based off of the hunger and fullness hormones in your body and what you decide to eat. And you won't even have to think about it. You have a new baseline. And for the cutting side of that, it's once you cut down that weight, you either are going to plan on maintaining that and not just immediately eating back to how you normally did, because otherwise you're just going to slap the fat right back on because your body wants to go back to its original baseline. Or B, you're trying to go back into a bulk, which is totally fine. Just you slowly reintroduce calories because your body has a way much longer time to take to get back to that baseline because you're slowly feeding it back, and it causes it to put on way more muscle than fat because of how it's going to utilize the extra food, since you're only giving it so much to work with while breaking down the muscles in your body. Because if you give it 1,000 calories over what you need, sure, it's going to repair the muscles you just broke down, but it's got so much extra food, and what's it going to do with it? It's just going to slap it on as fat. But when you give it just a little bit more, it's going to prioritize repairing your body before slapping on fat. So now back to the bulk side of it is when you're putting on new tissue, new muscle, it also has a baseline of, especially when you push a bulk of a very longer bulk, bodybuilders or anyone usually like to have a month or so, at least a few weeks, of being at maintenance, of not gaining any more weight while still at the end of their bulk, just to let that baseline stick. And usually that's when you transition into a prep, because you helped have that new muscle tissue stick, and it gives you aid in less muscle loss when going into a prep. So the fact that you had that new adaptation of what a baseline is, of keeping that extra few weeks before you go into prep, it's going to help hold on to more muscle. Because if you went like heavy bulk straight into a prep, all that muscle you just put on wasn't solidified, for lack of a better term, and will more likely than not come off along with your prep eventually. It may not be until 3 weeks out, but way more likely to happen. And those are some of the minor tweaks. And another thing I can mention is I actually just made a TikTok about this. My buddy in the gym, I made this mistake as well. My buddy in the gym just said he really wants to get his abs back and do like an aggressive 6-week cut. I actually coach him. And I went through the exact same mental thing, and part of it is like, I told him like, dude, your abs are still visible. But he was comparing himself when he was like end of cut. But by no means are you going to make any progress in the gym if you just keep looking back at what you look like end of cut. Like, you cannot stay that lean when you're trying to gain weight. And I think part of it is looking in the short-term gratification of what your physique can look like, instead of the long-term progression and like a transformation that you can get out of it. And that's honestly just lays into delayed gratification. So if you can delay being rewarded for what the work you put in the gym, the much more you can get out of it. And just think about, why would you want to do an aggressive 6-week cut for abs? Like, why do you want to be able to see visible abs to be shredded? It's so you can feel good. And so it's, people will notice that and you have more confidence. But being able to delay will have a greater result in the future, because you'll be shredded and also have more muscle with it and look even better. And you won't have an aggressive cut, and you can actually feel good when you're at the end of your cut, because you didn't rush it, and because you didn't screw up all the rest of the stuff in your body from crash dieting and dropping calories so quick that it's not going to be sustainable. Sure, you get 1 week of being shredded, but then you just want to huff down a ton of food because you just starved yourself. So as difficult it is to be impatient, or as difficult as it is to be patient about it in the gym, I think this is understanding it's more of a lifestyle decision rather than a short-term goal. Sure, you can have some goals within the gym of like, my goal right now is I want to be 230. That might be reaching, but maybe 220. I'll stick to what my original goal was. 230 at the end of my bulk. I'm 210 right now. Now, am I going to get to 230? Unlikely. without getting a little chubby, but that's a goal I set. And that's like a short-term, what the hell is this guy doing? That's a short-term goal you get out of it. And all right, I'm about to see some road rage. That's a short-term goal you get out of it. And sorry, I just lost my whole train of thought. This guy just cut somebody off and then like immediately zoomed in front of it. Yeah, you get the point of looking at it as a lifestyle, not just trying to get one single goal. That being said, made sure to throw in some extra drop sets and push even more than I normally do today, just because I'm having a cheat meal this week, or I normally do, but like all you can eat sushi. And how many sushi rolls do you guys think I can half down? I was able to, on my 20th birthday, it was almost 2 years ago now, holy crap, a year and 10 months ago, I had 101 pieces of sushi on my birthday after a workout. That was 14 sushi rolls, or maybe it was 13 or 14 sushi rolls in one sitting. And I'm not talking like the tiny ones, I'm talking maybe 8 of them, probably 9 of them were like specialty rolls, and then 4 or 5 of them were like smaller California rolls. But dude, holy crap, I don't think I've ever felt that full in my life. And I think last time I went was a couple months ago, and I had like 8 rolls, and it's still like only 2/3 of what I had before. So I have no idea. I'll probably get like the same amount this time, like 8 rolls. But yeah, I guess that's the end of my tangent. Tomorrow I got a rest day. I'm going to make another whiteboard video, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to explain on the whiteboard is actually really valuable stuff, and I'll probably throw in some jokes or whatever, just so you guys enjoy it instead of me sitting there lecturing you. I don't think you want to go to Professor Schaefer's lecture, so I'll speak bro to bro instead of professor to student. So it'll be a little bit of bro science, a little bit of real science, and yeah, I mean, you're probably watching this if you saw that video, so either way, appreciate y'all watching. I should have that video up after this one, and then we'll be back to a regular routine in 2 days for chest day. So I will see you guys then. Peace.